Nick Digilio's here. Before we tell you about his new podcast, let's talk about this. Mother's Day movies. Give me your top 10. Number 10.
The Babadook.
What is that?
It's a magnificent horror movie about an evil sort of entity that invades a mother and her son.
Oh, sweet. Number 9.
Mother's Boys.
What is that?
The sexy and wonderful Jamie Lee Curtis plays a maniac who seduces men and kills them, and does this all while she's trying to raise her
Obviously captures the weekend.
Yeah.
Number 8.
Throw Mama from the Train.
I love this movie.
Danny DeVito and Billy Crystal, and the late, great Anne Ramsey.
When you look at Anne Ramsey without the movie makeup for this, please tell me she wasn't that horrific.
She no, I mean she was an interesting looking older lady,
a handsome woman,
and she also by the way has a classic scene in the movie Deadly Friend, a Wes Craven horror film from the 80s, in which her head explodes because someone throws a basketball at it.
Oh,
like a robot girl whips a basketball so hard her head explodes.
Well, you don't want that.
But Throw Mama from the Train. Yeah.
Number 7.
I, Tonya.
Tanya.
Yes.
That was a good movie.
With Allison Janney, the Oscar-winning performance as her lovely mother.
Yeah.
And Allison Janney, who tells great stories about the bird wrangler who had to deal with the bird that sat on her shoulder the way Tanya Harding's mom actually had a bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And smoked nonstop.
Yep.
Number 6.
The Grifters. Lovely little movie about some con people. John Cusack, best thing he's ever done. And Angelica Houston.
Yeah.
And Angelica Houston plays his mom and at one point tries to seduce her son.
Oh, sweet. Number 5?
Mommy Dearest, which is Joan Crawford. Faye Dunaway as Joan Crawford, one of the finest cult classics of all time.
Number 4.
What was that? No More Wire Hangers.
No,
Yes.
No wire hangers. Yeah.
Number 4.
The Manchurian Candidate with Angela Lansbury, brainwashing, having her son brainwashed so that he can assassinate a political candidate.
Well, it's important for mothers and sons.
Yes, you have to see your mother has to support you. Yes.
Number 3.
Carrie with Piper Laurie
Oh, yeah.
as one of the greatest movie moms of all time.
They're all going to laugh at you.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Number 2.
Hereditary. Hereditary is one of the greatest horror movies of the past 20 years with Toni Collette as a mom at one point who says, "I wish I was never your mother."
Oh, again.
It's a lovely, lovely
The spirit
movie.
of the
I
weekend.
like Toni Collette.
And number 1.
Psycho, the greatest
course.
mom movie of all
Yes.
time. You know,
Psycho.
Yeah, it's that's the number one movie to watch on Mother's Day this year. Of
I
course,
can't
is
imagine your mom
obviously
hasn't heard
Psycho.
of or seen Psycho, but probably don't want to surprise her with it.
Yeah, Mom, I bought you a Blu-ray of Psycho. Here, enjoy.
Oh, my God. That was actually one of my parents' first dates.
Psycho?
Yes.
Wow. You know the girl
They
I'm
saw
dating
Psycho.
now? And they turned out okay.
Yeah, it turned out great.
The girl
45
I'm
years they were
dating
married.
now, I mean, we dated in the 80s for a little while,
Yeah.
and now we reunited 30-something years later. But the first movie I ever took her to was David Cronenberg's The Fly.
Oh, that's
see?
sweet.
Which is a
Nothing
love
says
story.
love.
It's
That
a
is
love story.
Yeah.
And I think most of your sex experts will say there's nothing like The Fly for foreplay. All right, so well done by you. All right, let's talk about your
Very
new
nice.
podcast. It's out now.
Hey, there's a podcast that dropped today. How does it happen every time I come in?
Coincidence never stops.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. The Nick D podcast, which new episodes drop every Tuesday and Friday. It's the Radio Misfits Podcast Network, radiomisfits.com, and everywhere you get your podcasts, every platform. The Nick D podcast is an entertainment podcast, pop culture. I review movies and do all kinds of cool stuff and have regular guests. And this episode that dropped today, Marnie Shore joined me. She is a great food editor and a writer, and we talk about edible bugs because, hey, what are you going to do with cicadas? You
Right.
dip them in chocolate and you eat them. That's what you do.
Or put them on a skewer. Isn't that what?
Skewer up your
A
cicadas.
skewer.
That's
Gotta
nice.
Greek it up.
That's nice.
Yeah, we talk about that. And then Esmeralda, my partner, and I, we talk about how when she was in Mexico, she tried, not only was it like pizza, but it was pizza with hot dogs on it because they wanted to do like a Chicago-style pizza. So they just put hot dogs on it. So there's a lot of food talk on this episode that dropped today. So.
I love that.
And the Saturday Night Live version of your podcast?
The That Show Hasn't Been Funny in Years, an SNL podcast, which is a separate podcast that I have. That drops, new episodes are on Wednesday. And the current episode that just dropped a couple of days ago, my guest is Jod Rudnitsky. Jod Rudnitsky spent one season on SNL, season 41. He was not cut out for the show. It was an interesting season, and we talk about that and his stand-up comedy. He's going to be at Zany's in Old Town next week. And so he's the latest podcast. And one of the more interesting stories, he tells a lot of great stories about the one season that he was on. and how you have, you know this, Steve, and Andrea, you know this as well. If you don't pitch stuff, if you don't find a writer during the week, your sketches aren't going to get on, and you're not going to get a lot of airtime. That's just the nature of the beast of being a part of SNL. And he just didn't kind of get that. But he did have a couple of great shows. Like his first show, he talks about the very first show he ever did on SNL. Within 2 minutes of the show, during the cold open, he gets licked by Miley Cyrus. 2 of his sketches that he came up with actually were on the show. And then the next week, nothing. And then the following week, nothing. And that's just what happens. But he was there and tells kind of an amazing story. He was there when Trump hosted in 2015.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, my God.
So he was on that show and talks about how you can hear the protesters outside.
Sure.
And he's not really sure at this point. John tells the story of, being there. Not really sure if Trump can read. So that's
interesting.
That's been a question forever.
Yeah.
I have an SNL question about the audience. How many people are? I know there's.
It's small.
It seems small.
In the studio?
Yeah.
Oh, it's 150 maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Total, right?
Yeah.
Because there's people who sit upstairs too.
Most people are upstairs.
Most
Yeah,
people
you're
are
looking down at the stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you
There's a few
got those
people in
seats on
front
the
of the
floor.
monologue,
You got those
yeah.
seats on the floor and with the band stage where they come out and do the monologue.
And there's maybe 30.
Yeah.
So when they have the plants, like Matt Damon or whoever might be in the audience, is that just audience members that they call down from, the second level and put them there, temporarily?
No, those
and then
people-
put the
those
plants
people,
in?
those are real.
people
They're
that
real
have
people. They just put the
okay.
celebrity who, if somebody is doing a Q&A
Yeah.
for a monologue, which they do all the time, they'll just put the celebrity. They'll take somebody out of the seat and put the celebrity in that seat and then put them back after they do the bit.
got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. That's cool. I always wondered that.
Yeah. But anyway, the SNL podcast is up, and the Nick D podcast is up. You can get them both at RadioMisfits.com.
Very cool.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about some entertainment for the weekend and some new movies that are out, including one of them big old monkey movies.
Yeah, man.
Question of the day, what sort of good advice did you get from your mom? Hey, Dave in Crystal Lake, what do you got?
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Steve?
Good, buddy, how are you?
Good. She taught me at a very young age, when you see something in somebody else you don't like, before you become judgmental, look in the mirror because it's probably something about yourself.
The man in the mirror. Yeah, the man in the mirror theory. Yeah, well, that's great advice, man. Thank you, buddy. That's great advice from any mom to a kid. You know what I always told my kids, and I still believe it's true? No matter what somebody does to offend you, and no matter what time of the day it happens, I promise you they're not thinking about you within 5 minutes of the offense.
100%.
And if you allow it to ruin your day or your week or whatever, that's on you.
Absolutely.
You
I
know?
mean, you should care what other people think to an extent.
Yeah, but then let it go.
But then let it go. Absolutely. I always say that too. I mean,
Or I
I
was
don't
trying
know
to get my
kids,
daughter to
but-
punch him in the face. She wouldn't do it.
no. No, but
You'd
you're
have to
right
know,
though.
have
Let
to
it
know
go.
Amy to know how funny that is.
Treat everything like an incident. When you're driving, someone does something, someone cut you off. 5 minutes later, you forget about it.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You should.
You should.
You should. Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
Nick Digilio's here.
Yeah, I am. I'm
before
here.
we get to the monkey movie,
Yeah, man.
what is the idea of you?
Okay. Are you ready? Because I'm going to say this, and I've caught a lot of hell from my colleagues in the film critics circle for what I'm about to say.
Okay.
The idea of you, I think, is one of the best movies of the year.
And why do the critics hate that?
Because it's a rom-com with Anne Hathaway, and everybody seems to hate Anne Hathaway, which I don't understand.
That's the sport hating of Anne Hathaway.
I don't understand.
I've never
why?
understood it. It's gone on forever.
Andrea? Okay, no, wait a minute. No, you just furrowed the brow. Does that mean you do not like?
Wait, was Anne Hathaway in Les Mis?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's why.
because of that.
Yeah, that's why. Because I like Anne Hathaway, but there's just like an annoying characteristic that she has, and Les Mis just amped it up for me.
You mean the part where she's really attractive and talented?
I think it's because she's a theater kid. She's giving off theater kid vibes sometimes.
Well, but
she's a
but see,
little
she is
affected,
like.
but I like her for the
she's,
most part.
She's not like Leah Michelle is the ultimate
Whoa.
theater kid. You know what I mean?
Any of the
leave her
cast of
alone.
Glee?
I think Anne Hathaway is extraordinarily talented,
So
and
do
yeah,
I.
I mean, I hated Les Mis, and
Right.
she
And
won an
but I
Oscar.
love
She
Devil
won an
Wears
Oscar
Prada.
for that. She won an Oscar for that because she cried because she got a haircut.
Right.
That's it.
Right, and she
So-
lost her teeth.
Yeah, but But outside of that, if you've
did.
never seen the movie Colossal, she's unbelievable in that movie. And Colossal is one of the best and most accurate films ever made about alcoholism. And it also happens to be a great giant monster kaiju movie.
Every other thing
a
I've seen her
phenomenal
in, though. I mean, I love Devil Wears Prada.
She's great at everything, and she
She's
made bad
great.
material better. I mean, The Intern with Robert De Niro was a bad movie, and she was great in it.
I don't understand the hate. I talked about this on my podcast with my partner Esmeralda. We talked about we were looking at this article about like celebrities that everybody hates, and Anne Hathaway was near the top of the list, and I was like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I mean, okay, she was a child, and she started young. She was in The Princess Diaries. Those are Disney movies, whatever. But she's been great in a lot of movies and consistently
she's been very good.
And
but
she's
there's just this
but people hate her.
a little bit of an annoying
So
quality.
when I said to my colleagues
Not
that
like at a Julianne Moore level.
and again, what the hell? Julianne Moore is one of the
don't
greatest
even.
actresses
Oh my God.
on the
What's
planet.
that
You will
new
never
thing she's in?
convince Andrea that Julianne Moore
She's
is
one of the greatest
good.
actresses that's ever lived.
You've got this block
God.
with Julianne Moore.
What's the one that she's in now? George and
It's a miniseries, yeah.
yeah. I had to stop watching it after like a half an
You
episode.
are drunk.
And then the one that you really like too, where it's the takeoff of Mary Kay Letourneau.
Yeah, May, December.
Yeah.
Oh God.
One of the best movies of last year.
Again, I had
By
to
the way,
stop
she's in the greatest movie ever made. She's in Magnolia. And
And by the way, I'll give you
that
another
was
by
a
the
good
way.
movie.
Anne Hathaway even made Ocean's 8 good, and that's a terrible
she's-
movie.
I like
Look.
Anne Hathaway more so.
God, I don't understand
I do.
this.
All
All right,
I don't
so the
understand.
idea of you, it's
But anyway,
actually
the
a good
idea of you.
rom-com, and they don't make rom-coms anymore.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The guy who made this movie is Michael Showalter, who started out with The State. He was on The State, and he was like Wet Hot American Summer. He directed The Big Sick, which is also a rom-com, which was really great. He directed The Eyes of Tammy Faye. With Jessica Chastain, and spoiler alert. And his latest movie, it's a rom-com, and Anne Hathaway is a 40-year-old. She just turns 40 in the movie. She's got a teenage daughter, and she falls for a very, very famous 24-year-old kid in a boy band. And that's what it's about. It's about a 40-year-old woman falling for a 24-year-old kid from a boy band and trying to somehow make this cursed relationship work. She is great in it. And the guy who plays the kid that she falls in love with is Nicholas Gallenstein.
Never heard of him.
By the way, he's the other guy in that the Julianne Moore thing that you're watching.
the
He's the
period
lead.
piece?
Yes, he's the
Now,
lead in
he's
that.
okay.
Yeah. Well, sure, you like him.
He's good.
But anyway, he plays the boy band. He plays the British boy band guy that Anne Hathaway falls in love with, and their chemistry is amazing. And the movie really does deal with older women, younger guy relationships, what it would be like to be followed by the press and paparazzi, and how that affects the teenage daughter and her life. It's a terrific movie, incredibly entertaining. It's on Prime. It's on Prime right now. It's in theaters as well. And I think it's one of the best movies of the
It's a
year.
nice movie to watch with your mom.
Maybe not with her, but
Yeah.
I will watch it. And this is how much I listen to your recommendations. I watched Eileen the other night, which also stars Anne Hathaway, and you said watch.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
terrific.
Good. Oh God!
All right, we'll get to
What
monkey
the
movie here.
hell is wrong
And
with
I
you?
love
Give me,
you so
give me,
much.
give me 30 seconds on Poolman because I want to get to the monkeys.
Okay, Poolman is Chris Pine's directorial debut.
Right, he's a guy that bugs the hell out of me.
Okay, well,
Chris
he's
Pine.
boy.
Me too,
You
me
are you're gonna flip tables and bust chairs when you watch this thing. He wrote and directed it. He plays a goofy, pot smoking, high pool man who kind of falls into a Chinatown like water mystery. It's got an all-star cast, including Jennifer Jason Leigh, the great Stephen Tobolowsky is in it, Danny DeVito's in it, and Chris Pine wrote and directed it.
You like it? You don't like it?
Well, I don't know. It's one of the weirdest movies ever.
All right,
so
good.
anyway,
Well,
you'd hate it, Steve.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. How many monkey movies have we had?
You talking the newer reboots?
The whole run.
5, 6, 4. There's a 10.
All right, so we're about on number 10.
Yeah.
And this one is?
Great.
Really?
Oh yeah. No, there is only one bad Planet of the Apes movies. If you're talking about all of them, if you're talking about the original run and the new modern run
The one
that
with
started
Mr. T,
the
where he knocks him out.
where you
Oh, no, that's wrong.
No, that's the wrong
Rocky.
one.
Okay.
No, it's the only one that's bad is the one that Tim Burton made with Mark Wahlberg in 2001. It's terrible. It's terrible. But
How do you
outside of that,
how do you keep coming up with new monkey stories?
well, this one is takes place generations because the reboot that happened in 2011 became a trilogy.
Okay.
And they're surprisingly great. Like they've become these modern ones that started in 2011 and gone through 2017 are great. They're all great. And this takes off from there years later. The effects are amazing. It doesn't have any of the cast members or characters from the reboots from the early 2000s, but the effects are amazing. It's exciting. Not quite as great as the last two, but the visuals are.
I have not seen the monkey movie since the first one.
Since the
first one. The first
Are you talking about the one from 1968?
Yeah, and I was
you didn't see
7 or
any?
8 years old. Didn't see any of it after that.
What the hell is wrong? What's wrong with both of you?
The British
We
accent.
What is happening?
We
Did
were
you
set
guys?
in film class.
The monkeys with the British accent? Is that to make them seem smarter than we are?
Well, if they're not, they don't all have British
Yeah,
accents.
seem like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I got somebody who hates Julianne Moore and somebody who doesn't like the Planet of the Apes. Why am I here? What the hell is going on?
I ask myself that every day.
I'm in a room with someone who hates the Planet of the Apes movies and a woman who hates Julianne Moore. What the hell is? And I love you, Andrea. You're wearing a Barbie sweatshirt.
I know.
I didn't say I hate them. I
Hate's a
said I hadn't
strong
seen
word.
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
And
busy every
Well,
time
she
one came
said she
out.
hates
No, I
Julianne
don't
Moore.
hate.
Well, she does.
How about strongly dislike?
Okay, if you're in a boat and the boat's sinking, you can only save
No.
one person, and the other person's Paula Hitler. Do you say Paula Hitler or Julianne?
Well, I had to think about that
All
one.
right, I thought so. Nick Digilio, where do we get your podcast?
Oh, what?
Where do we get your podcast?
Okay, my podcast, the Nick D Podcast, entertainment podcast with a great group of regular guests. That's Tuesday and Friday, new episodes. And my SNL podcast, That Show Hasn't Been Funny in Years, drops every Wednesday. And the next episode is about breaking on camera. The greatest moments where SNL, because you guys know
Just came off the Beavis and Butthead.
exactly
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. So that's in there. You can get it at radiomisfits.com, where we have a bunch of great podcasts, or any place, any platform.